foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soup News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soup News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soup News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Soup News, your source for business, economy, and development insights that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Soup News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Soup News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Soup News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Soup News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Hello and welcome this busy Monday morning to Market Insights. I am Lavina Emma. On Market Insights, we bring you stock market analysis, commodities, and currency updates. So today, the 26th of February, the Central Bank of Nigeria is having its 293rd meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee at the Central Bank headquarters in Abuja. Now, what is the Monetary Policy Committee? So I'll give you a very short intro concerning the Monetary Policy Committee. In 2007, the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, which was established to create the Monetary Policy Committee, it facilitated the attainment of a price stability and the support of economic policy of the federal government. The MPC also formulates monetary and credit policy and meets regularly to discuss these policies. They also make decisions on global and domestic economic development and what will be obtained in the future. Now, the results of these meetings are shared with the public through a policy communique, and it is read at a press conference by the CBN governor. So on today's show, I will be discussing with my guest the likely decisions that the Monetary Policy Committee will make and how it will affect Nigerians. So join us after the break.
My name is Dr. Rafiu Oladipo.
My name is Baba Jalal Repega.
I'm Reverend Juliet Benite.
I'm Godio Didi.
My name is Professor Oladokun Sulaiman Olarawaju.
Sook News is on the ground, loading.
Very enlightening, very educative, and entertaining.
Thank you to Sook News.
So I'm happy that Sook TV has come into existence.
I'm happy to be here in the Sook News.
I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and keep watching news that makes sense.
As Browning said, one's extension of one's reach should not exceed one's grasp, or what is heaven for. And I think Sook News is doing that.
Africa needs a voice of truth, and Sook News has become one of them. And get ready, get ready, get ready.
And keep watching.
Keep watching Zook News.
Keep watching Sook News. It's a place to be.
Keep watching Sook News.
Welcome back. So, like I said earlier on, we're discussing what are the prospects, what are the likely decisions, and what suggestions we could also make concerning the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that is taking place at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters this morning. So my guest joining me to discuss the likely decisions made and what suggestions we can also do to help our economy is Mr. Segun Sokbiton. He's joining us online. Mr. Segun Sokbiton is an economist, and he's also the chairman of Accountability, Candor, and Transparency Network. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sokbiton. Morning. We're happy to have you here this morning to discuss the likely decisions that will be taken at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting this morning at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters. Okay, we're having a bit of an audio difficulty. Let's take this short break. We'll be right back.
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Sook News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Sook News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Sook News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Sook News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Sook News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
My name is Yinka Babalola.
My name is Ijoma Pelokoro.
My name is Joshua Hassan.
I am Rotarian or Mosunde Lawson.
It's Ife Yunwarita Ejeze. My friends call me Ife.
My name is Rotarian Lola Dare.
I'm inviting you to keep watching Sook News. It's the right station to tune to.
I like Sook News. Sook News is good.
I want to charge you all to listen to Sook News, watch the news.
You can have unlimited news, first time.
Find Sook News. Be with Sook News. Never switch off. You are better for it. Souk News is the real thing.
Listen to their coverage and you'll be glad you did.
Turn to your YouTube, turn to your Instagram, turn to all your digital channels and look for Souk News.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Please, guys, keep watching.
Souk News.
Welcome back. Now, my guest discussing the Monetary Policy Committee this morning, the meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee this morning, is Mr. Segun Shokbito. Mr. Segun Shokbito is an economist and the chairman of Accountability, Candor, and Transparency Network. He'll be joining us online via Zoom. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Shokbito. Well, glad to have you on Market Insights this morning. Okay, so we would like to actually ask, share your thoughts and listen to some possible suggestions concerning what will be discussed at the 293rd Monetary Policy Committee meeting taking place at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters in Abuja. So I hope you can hear me clearly, Mr. Shokbito. Okay. So we all know that currently in Nigeria right now, inflation is really high. It's currently at 29%. It's over 29% right now. And we also know that past Central Bank of Nigeria governors, they've also attempted to tackle this. But in the past years, like when Governor Chukwuma Soludo was the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, inflation was not this high. And successive governors that took over from him, it wasn't this high. But currently, with the current CBN governor, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, the current inflation rate is very high. So concerning inflation, what kind of, do you think there will be a downward trend that will, due to the trend right now, the high inflation, do you think that, that they'll be actually reporting a more, how do I put this now, a more, there'll be a downward trend concerning inflation? Do you really, what are your thoughts on this, please?
Okay, so thanks for having me again. I mean, look, the story with regards to inflation over the last 4 or 5 years has not been a very pretty story. It's been a picture of instability, continuous increase, inflation in the country. It's a good thing that you mentioned previous CBN governors. If you look at the track record of this CBN governors, Charles Soludo, Lamido Sanusi, who took over from him, and Godwin Emefiele, you find that the most successful amongst these 3 CBN governors with regards to managing inflation was Lamido Sanusi. And you know, a critical review of the MPC decisions, the MPC considerations, sentiments under these 3 CBN governors will probably give you some sort of an indicator as to why Sanusi succeeded where perhaps, especially Emefiele, has seems to have failed so significantly. Now, the question you asked is a simple question. Do I think there's going to be a downward trend? If you look at how the CBN has tried to manage inflation under Emefiele, you would want to hope that there will be a change from this CBN. If that happens, then we should see a downward trend. If it doesn't happen, then it's going to be business as usual. And it's important to point out that the factors that are driving inflation are beyond the exclusive purview of the Monetary Policy Committee and the Central Bank. So the issues that are driving inflation besides, or let me put it this way, the issues that are driving inflation go just beyond money supply issues. There are also fiscal issues, there are structural economic structural issues, there are infrastructure issues, all tied into, the entire situation, which makes it perhaps significantly more challenging to find a solution to this. If we're going to see a downward trend, it would have to mean that the Central Bank of Nigeria, through the MPC is meeting, I think it's today and tomorrow, through the MPC, as well as the Ministry of Finance, deploying various fiscal instruments, policies, and all of that, working hand in hand with other cabinet ministers under this administration, will have to all put their heads together on one table to bring down this inflation issue. The National Security Advisor, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Transportation, Works Minister, and so on and so forth, must all come together, because every single one of these people, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Water Resources, all of these ministers must come together, sit at a table regularly to compare notes and look at the impact of, it's almost like you are providing a feedback, sounding board feedback mechanism amongst themselves, to look at the impact of the policies that are being initiated, in each of these ministries, and how they're affecting the output and outcomes, amongst all of them. If we're able to coordinate ourselves in this way, then we should see a decline in inflation before the end of the year. It's important to also note that even if we're going to experience this fall in inflation rate, it's not going to happen very quickly, regardless of whatever the MPC decides today, tomorrow. I think, every watcher of events, of economic events in this country has a fair idea of what the MPC decision is going to be. But regardless of whatever that decision will be, we will not expect to see an immediate impact and an immediate decline in inflation rate. However, by the time the next MPC meeting happens, we still don't know when that will be. We don't know what frequency the CBN governor will adopt. But by the time the next MPC committee meeting happens, hopefully we should have begun to see at least, if not a decline, a slowing down, a significant slowing down in the rate of increase of inflation rate. So there's a lot of ifs. The question you ask doesn't have a straightforward answer. There's a lot of ifs with regards to what the actions will be from the different responsible government officials managing our economy.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Shokmito, I understand what you have just said concerning whether it might be likely that we might have, because like I mentioned earlier on, during the last CBN governor's tenure, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, his inflation during that period was an upward trend. So what do you really think? This is the first time Mr. Yemi Cardoso is having a MPC meeting as the Central Bank of Nigeria governor. So what do you really think concerning inflation? What do you recommend will be his decision? Yes, we know that inflation is quite high right now, but what do you actually recommend if you were actually part of that meeting?
Okay. So one of the things that you will find is that money supply has exploded in the last year. Under the administration of Godwin Emefiele, there was this, there's this trending news regarding Ways and Means accounts. So the government borrowed, I try to watch my words, but I can't find any word better than recklessly. The government borrowed recklessly from the central bank. Now, these were not loans. These were not loans that were collected from lending agencies, organizations that had, projects tied to them. This was just the government saying, look, we need money, provide money to us, and the CBN simply made the money available through the Ways and Means account. So in other words, we are basically printing currency. When we say printing currency, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are printing physical notes. It just means that you are creating money by simple accounting entries, rather than money being created by value addition and value creation. So this practice happened extensively under the Godwin Emefiele CBN administration. And this has seen an explosion in money supply between December 2022 and December 2023. We saw over a 50% growth in money supply. Money supply, December 2023 was somewhere around 55 trillion naira. And December 2022, pardon me. As at December 2023, we're up to 78 trillion. That's a 26 trillion naira growth in a 1 year period. I mean, this is pretty much almost suicidal. And it's not therefore a surprise that we're seeing, what is happening with regards to inflation rate. Now, let's not forget, and this is, the tricky situation with Nigeria, that beyond money supply, and, for the layman that is watching, money supply is important because, as you would say, secondary school economics, O-level economics will teach you that inflation happens when too much money is chasing too few goods. So if you have your money supply expanding as rapidly as what we have seen in the last 1 year, when output is also not growing commensurately, when your GDP and your economic output is also not growing, then inflation will happen. Now, in addition to that standard textbook definition of inflation, you also have cost push factors, that are driving inflation. You have the security situation and food security problems, where farmers are unable to produce enough food and we're having to import. So on the one hand, you've got that. You've got infrastructure challenges that prevent food from getting from the farm gate to the market without a significant escalation in the cost of transportation. You've got exchange rate issues tied into that, where you're importing a lot of food and a lot of other items that you need in the economy, and your exchange rate is not stable, right? So there's a bit of a feedback loop, within all of this, because at the same time, whilst you are talking about devaluation of the currency, and the impact that will have on food prices and other goods and services prices, you also have the money supply problem, where there's so much money circulating in the system that demand pressure on your currency is inevitable. So you'd have Naira pursuing dollars, and that will devalue your Naira. So you put all of this together and you realize that you are just in a conundrum where there is a multiple set of factors working against you as an economy. So now, what should the CBN do? There are two things that I think are under the direct control and purview of the CBN: the money supply issue and the exchange rate management issue. For the money supply issue, the solution and the action that will be taken is obvious. We are going to see a significant raise in the monetary policy rate from this MPC meeting. In fact, some experts are expecting that it to be an unprecedented raise. So typically when an MPC meets, you would have either a hold or you would have, an increase or a reduction in interest rates. Always three decision possibilities. So everybody is expecting a tightening. In a tightening scenario, you're going to increase rates, and we're expecting a significant tightening, where we're talking potentially maybe up to 500 basis points. In other words, up to 5% increase in monetary policy rates. Monetary policy rate is 18.75% as we speak today. So we're saying there's a possibility that at the end of the MPC sessions tomorrow, we may have monetary policy rates, trending at around 23.75%. Some more conservative analysts will say that MPR will be raised by at least 200 basis points or 2%. So we may see MPR going to 20.75. Now, why is this important? First of all, when you do that, you make it attractive for liquidity funds, to go into investment, take advantage of those rates, which would tighten liquidity in the system. You would make inflow of foreign capital importation will hopefully also be impacted, because your real returns within the economy would have increased, which would make investing in that economy for portfolio investors and direct investors, foreign direct investors, more attractive, which will then have, a loop effect on your exchange rate. You see, a strengthening of your exchange rate. So monetary policy rates will go up. I am a bit of the conservative school of thought that when you increase monetary policy rates, that has a multiplier effect on the cost of borrowing within the economy, which has an impact on the cost of goods and services. But in the situation we find ourselves, I don't think we have too much of a choice. We do have to increase monetary policy rates. The second thing that I think that the MPC will need to speak about, the CBN now, and through the MPC, is to talk about what is going to happen with the exchange rates. In the last 2 months, we've seen a volatility of over 100% devaluation. There's no economy that can survive, with 100% devaluation in 2 months. That is unprecedented. So there has to be critical actions, fiscal policy measures to improve liquidity in the foreign exchange markets that will see a collapse, a significant collapse of the exchange rate. We want to see the Naira strengthen significantly against the US dollar, which will then again have a multiplier effect on inflation. So the two things that I think that we need to see from the CBN, from this NPR, will be the tightening decision, where you would see monetary policy rate going up, and then more coordination and coherence with regards to the exchange rate management policy decisions. There have been quite a lot of them in the last 2 months from the Yemi Cardoso CBN. We need to see more, but more importantly, we need to see more coordination in how these policies are being rolled out. We need to see that there has to be some sort of a targeting framework where we're saying, this is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there in terms of policies. And this is when we expect to get there. It may not be as simple as what I've just said, but there has to be a framework. At the moment, there is no clear framework to tell the market what the CBN is trying to achieve. So that I hope that the Monetary Policy Committee will discuss this and come out with clear communication, to the markets with regards to next couple of months, what direction we expect policies to move towards.
Thank you for that, Mr. Shokbiton. Yes, I understand. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your recommendations if you were part of that meeting. But there was something specifically that you said. You mentioned that you would like to see the Naira improve. Currently, the Naira is buying the dollar at, it's almost at the parallel market, the unofficial market is over 1,800 Naira to $1. So that's quite high. So I just want to take you back a bit because you talked about the foreign exchange. During Charles Soludo's era as CBN governor, we were buying the dollar at 147 Naira to $1. And during Lamido Sanusi's era, we were buying the dollar at 157 Naira. And during Godwin Emefiele's tenure, we were buying the dollar at 357 Naira to $1. So there's been an upward trend over the years, actually. So considering the high foreign exchange rates, what do you think will be the decision of the MPC? Yes, I know you talked about that earlier on, but we know that this trend has been increasing over and over, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. The CBN has their own official rate, but in the parallel market, the rate is approaching 2,000 Naira, and at the moment it's not slowing down. It's affecting everything in the economy. So what do you think will be the decision? What do you suggest the MPC should take considering this high foreign exchange rates that we are currently experiencing?
That historical perspective is important. So again, thanks for that. So you had a situation where over from 2003 thereabouts, 2015, exchange rate, Naira devalued against the dollar about 150 to 100%. So official exchange rates, like you said, under Soludo, I think was hovering somewhere around 100 Naira to the dollar. By the time Emefiele was leaving office, official exchange rate was 460, 461, thereabouts. So that's roughly about a 300% valuation. But that's over 15-year period, if my maths is not failing me, right? But that's almost a 20-year period, 300%. Now, between when Godwin Emefiele left office last year and now, so let's say June, July, when Yemi Cardoso became CBN governor, between that time and now, we've had a further 200%, almost 300% valuation. So official rates from 461 now 1,600 on the FMDQ platform as at Friday, close of business on Friday, 1,600. So you can calculate the number of, for that's 400%, the number of 400 you can get out of 1,600. That's 400% devaluation in a 6-7 month period. So this is a problem. It's a problem that has to be addressed. Now, why has this happened? The managed float is the floating of the exchange rate, basically, the floating of a pricing mechanism. Is that a good policy? Well, it's debatable. It's always not a bad idea to have market forces determine the prices of goods and services within an economy. Because if you do that, then the theory is that you allow the free flow of trade, free exchange in both directions. So in the case of foreign exchange, you allow free inflow and free outflow of capital, right? So now, the challenge is that we have floated our currency. We do not have the capacity to improve liquidity within the system that will provide the stability required to run an economy. So as we floated the exchange rate pricing mechanism, the currency has devalued. Our naira has devalued significantly, progressively, and very quickly against the US dollar. So I would say a recommendation I would put forward, I doubt that this will be done, but I would say that the managed float policy needs to be reviewed. I am not saying it should be reversed, because I don't think it's a bad policy, but it has to be reviewed, it has to be revised to take in the impact of that policy, the impact that that policy has had on the economy, the outcomes, that we have seen from the implementation of this policy. Policy making is all about, looking at a problem, developing a policy initiative to fix that problem, and taking feedback from the outcome of the policy decisions you have made on the impact it's having or the outcomes you're having with regards to the problem you are trying to solve. Now, this is the feedback stage we're at now. There has to be a feedback loop mechanism where the CBN is looking at what is happening as a result of the policy it has initiated and making adjustments to that policy to take into consideration to fix the problems that have been created as a result of that policy. So now, people argue that the CBN may not have the capacity to defend the naira the way it used to do. And, I may agree with that, but we have to find a creative way to do this. The idea of trying to force the official market to catch up with the parallel market in terms of the price windows that are happening there is not a very good idea. It will never happen because there are other factors that are driving transactions out of the official market into the parallel market. Parallel market, there will always be a divergence. There will always be a divergence between the parallel market rate and the official market rate until we fix our exchange control policies. If we don't fix those policies, that divergence will always exist. If we continue to devalue the official rate because we want to close up the divergence between the official and the parallel market rates, we're going to continue to devalue our currency. So I would say that the MPC will need to take a critical review of our foreign exchange rate management mechanisms and temper the liberal posture of its policy making a bit. We cannot liberalize completely. We can't afford to liberalize to the extent that we are attempting to. So a lot of the volatility that you are seeing is as a result of this liberalization that is being pursued at the moment. The CBN needs to step up, needs to man up, and needs to intervene in the market in one way or the other. Where the liquidity to do this will come from, I'm not the CBN governor, so I leave that problem for him to solve. but I think that absolutely there has to be a rethink of our exchange rate management policy framework to ensure that we don't continue to see this devaluation. There will be a breaking point. It's unsustainable for this to continue to happen. People are predicting that parallel market rates will hit 2,000, maybe even go beyond that. We'll have to see how that plays out. Some of the policies that the CBN has deployed in the last 2 to 3 weeks appear to have been working. So again, there's a feedback issue there. What are we doing that we're doing right? Can we do a bit more of that so that we can continue to see results in that direction? So parallel market, I am not sure. I have not done a direct review by myself today to find out what parallel market rates are, but the news out there, these days it's difficult to know what to believe, so I hesitate to quote any numbers. But the news out there is that there has been a slight appreciation of the value of the Naira on the back of the BDC policies that the CBN rolled out last week. If this is true, then kudos to the CBN. But on the overall, I would say that the CBN needs to perform a critical review of its exchange rates management policy framework and make adjustments and tweaks to prevent the collapse that we're witnessing from continuing. Because there's a breaking point. We cannot afford to allow the economy and the country get to the point of crisis before we change whatever we're doing. It's clear that what we're doing may not be. I use the word may because I don't have the data to support what I'm saying. It appears as though it may not be working. If that's the case, then the CBN must react by making necessary adjustments to this policy framework.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Shokbiton. Now let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to actually talk more with Mr. Shokbiton concerning the MPC meeting, and he could also recommend to us a more effective way to provide a lasting solution to fix our foreign exchange policy. Join us after the break.
Idumota Market. Eko Idumota, once a residential neighborhood, is home to Idumota Market located on Lagos Island. It is one of the oldest and arguably one of the largest markets in West Africa. Idumota is a historic neighborhood adjacent to the Lagos port that facilitated the slave trade, and later under the British indirect rule, it surrounded to exports that fueled the colonial enterprise. Idumota was also the location of an armed forces remembrance cenotaph called Soja Idumota, built as a monument to Nigerian soldiers who served with the West African Frontier Force. An Eyo Masquerade statue and a clock tower are also some monuments at Idumota. Idumota Market is so popular that large sales are recorded as early as 7 a.m. The market is made up of hundreds of locked-up shops occupying several multi-story buildings, with some measuring about 5 or more floors. In 2010, the Lagos State government demolished some illegal structures in order to improve vehicular and human movement in and around the markets. During weekdays, the neighborhood of Idumota is densely populated by shoppers, traders, and bus passengers. From the Carter Bridge ascending into Lagos Island, passengers can see the neighborhood before disembarking at their final destination. Idumota Market accommodates the substantial inflow of imported goods. The bulk of import from abroad are routed first through Idumota and then on to other markets through Nigeria and other West and Central African countries. The energy of private Idumota traders and wholesalers facilitate this activity, where millions of US dollars worth of wholesale is exchanged daily. Idumota Markets, Souk Enlightenment.
My name is Olatunji Shoti Miri. I'm a performing artist and, television radio presenter and a university lecturer, Unilag. Keep watching Souk
The heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress. Welcome to Souk News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souk News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souk News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souk News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souk News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. In the heart of sub-Saharan Africa, where commerce meets progress, welcome to Souk News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, Souk News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. Souk News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, Souk News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. Souk News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions.
Welcome back. So I'm talking about the MPC meeting with Mr. Segun Sokbiton. Mr. Segun Sokbiton is also the principal partner, Woodridge and Scotts Consulting. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Sokbiton.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad to have you back here. So we're still talking about the current MPC meeting going on at the CBN headquarters in Abuja, and you also share your thoughts with us and also your recommendations. So we know we discussed inflation, and we also discussed that the current inflation, how it can be solved, and you also shared how we could also how the CBN governor needs to actually work on managing our foreign exchange rates too. So before the break, I wanted us to speak further on the foreign exchange rates. Yes, we know that, how important do you think it would be to attract more foreign investment into the country? And will this also help us to stabilize the exchange rates?
Foreign capital. So no country is an island. I think it's important that people understand this. No country is an island. No country operates all by itself. Not even China, that is regarded as the most successful socialistic capitalist country. To put it in a funny way. The countries like China still trade with the rest of the world and maintain a very healthy flow in both directions of capital investments, foreign capital investments. So Nigeria can't be different. So the role, the part that foreign investments will play, foreign investment can be either foreign direct investments or foreign portfolio investments. The portfolio investment will flow to your financial markets, your capital markets, and your money markets, your fixed income markets, where the long-term money market instruments are traded, and the short-term market where you are doing T-bills and other short-term instruments like that. All of these markets must benefit from foreign capital inflows in order for you to have a stable currency. Then you talk about the foreign direct investments, which really will typically be about investments in the economy, investments in infrastructure projects, investments in other parts of the economy outside of the markets. Excuse me. Now, on both scores, it would appear as though, as a result of the reforms of this administration, talking about subsidy removal, talking about the floating of the exchange rate, it would appear, and I keep using these words because for me, there is still no clear data that is tying this policy initiatives to the outcomes we're seeing. It's too early to conclude definitively, but it would appear as though we have seen a significant jump in inflow of capital into the country in this period. But the data is still coming in, and we'll have to wait to determine exactly why this is happening. But typically, neoliberal economic policy ideologists would always argue that the more you liberalize your market, the more capital will flow into those markets. So you can argue that the reason we're seeing this jump in foreign investments is as a result of this liberalization and the reforms that we're seeing now. We need to see a lot more of this. And I think that the government needs to do a whole lot more to boost the volumes of foreign investments that we're talking about significantly. The last time I checked, we're talking about 500 million US dollars having flown in, in the last 6-7 months. In the past, we are supposed to be speaking in billions of dollars within a 1-year period. We have had a situation in the past where we have had as much as 12 billion US dollars coming in as FDIs and FPIs within a single accounting period. Can we go back to those days? We've also had a situation where we've had far less than $1 billion. And right now, foreign inflows, foreign capital inflows at an all-time low. Can we go back to those periods? Absolutely. What are the things that are going to drive it? Liberalization, yes. But I would say targeted and measured, carefully deployed liberalization will achieve the same results as what we are seeing, maybe even better results than what we are seeing now. So liberalization of your the key fundamental structures of within your economy will be one. The second thing that I think needs to happen is carefully developed policy framework, deliberately targeted at improving capital flows. Our capital importation regulations need to be reviewed, right? Exchange control regulations need to be reviewed, right? We need to make it easy for capital to leave the country so that capital can come in. So it sounds counterintuitive, but that's the way it works. If capital can flow out of your economy freely and easily, then holders of that capital will have the confidence to bring their monies in, knowing that when they have achieved the objectives that they set before themselves when they brought the monies in, they can take their monies back out. Unfortunately, this is not the case at the moment. It's not very easy to repatriate your profits out of this country. The documentation requirements are very stringent. Fiscal policies regarding those things are perhaps not as friendly as they could be. So all of these things need to be reviewed to ensure that we can see more foreign capital coming into it. If that happens, then we can see a significant improvement in the liquidity situation in our foreign exchange markets, and it's the attendant impact that will have on our exchange rates. So again, as the MPC is meeting, this is something that I think, however, is outside of the purview of the MPC. These are policy issues that the CBN itself, the CBN governor, and the relevant departments within the CBN have to take on board, working with the Ministry of Finance in particular, talking about the fiscal side. Yes, so I think that's where we are now with regards to foreign capital, FDI, whether you're talking about FDIs or FPIs. We need to do a whole lot more to significantly boost the volumes that we're seeing in that regard at the moment. I always like to say that when you talk about liquidity in your foreign exchange markets, there are several sources of liquidity. The mistake that we sometimes make when we talk about this issue is to think that exports is the source of, is supposed to be the predominant source of foreign exchange revenues or foreign exchange inflows to your market. Yes, exports is supposed to be a major one, and all countries that have stable currency management, foreign exchange rate management framework are very strong exporters. However, it is not the only one. So you have foreign capital.
Yes, okay, yes, I understand what you're saying concerning how we need to actually, there should be more liberalization in the market, and we need to actually carefully look at this policy framework to ensure that we can actually, there can be a balance. So there should actually be, your thoughts, please. There should actually, the MPC needs to strike a balance between controlling inflation and also ensuring that there is that they don't stifle the economy, or should I say stifle the current economy, so that there'll be economic growth, actually. That's what you're actually trying to say, in other words, if Mr. Shokwiton?
Yeah, so it's this point you make, I made it earlier. The challenge that you always have with trying to use the instruments of the NPR to manage inflation is that it has a counter effect. The counter effect is that when you increase your NPR, borrowing rates will go up. Borrowing rates go up, credits will shrink within the economy. People will borrow less because it will be too expensive. You know, for the average manufacturer, their profit margins are probably not quite as hefty and healthy as they ordinarily should be as a result of other factors, other cost of business, cost of doing business, problems, challenges that we have in the country. So if you increase NPR, you increase cost of finance, cost of borrowing, you look at the breakdown of the profit and loss statement of most manufacturing firms, you find that cost of capital is a significant component, sometimes as high as 20 to 30% of their total cost structure. Power will be another significant one. The cost of labor and employment will be another one. So if you increase interest rates significantly enough, and this will have a tempering effect on production, on productivity, on manufacturing. Prices of goods and services will go up, which will affect consumption. Consumption reduces as a result of this. When consumption reduces, there will be an accumulation of inventories. When inventories increase, investments will reduce. And all of this could trigger, a feedback effect where you may distort or temper growth within the economy. You may actually push growth downwards within the economy. So you're absolutely right. There's always a need to strike a balance between wanting to control inflation by hiking interest rates, but also not stifling growth and stifling production and productivity within the economy by raising the interest rates too high. And this is the challenge that the MPC will be trying to tackle. That's why the MPC meetings are always very rigorous. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of factors to consider. There's a lot of sentiment to review. There's a lot of data to pour through before these decisions are made. I wish them luck. I don't envy them because really it's almost like being caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, you must increase interest rates, but by how much? If you don't increase interest rates at all, inflation will continue to develop. If you increase it and you don't increase it enough, you don't achieve enough with tempering of inflation. If you increase it too much, then you begin to affect growth negatively. So striking that balance is very important. But it's also important to note that the NPR, the monetary policy rate, is not the only instrument with which inflation can be controlled. So I would say that the MPC needs to do what it needs to do, whilst the fiscal side, the fiscal authorities also need to do what they need to do. And then other arms, agencies, and functionaries of this government also need to do what they need to do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shokpito. I was joined this morning with Mr. Segun Shokpito. He's the principal partner, Woodridge and Scott Consulting, actually, and he shared his thoughts with us and also gave his recommendations concerning the MPC meeting taking place at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters. So let's just take the selling rates, the official selling rates as at the close of work last week. So the Central Bank of Nigeria, thank you very much, Mr. Shokpito, for joining us, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks
so the official selling rates from the Central Bank of Nigeria as at the close of work last week, the Naira was buying the dollar at 1,489 Naira, and the Naira was buying the pound sterling at 1,880 Naira, and the Naira was buying the euro at 1,609 Naira. Yes, these are the official Central Bank of Nigeria rates as at close of the week last week. So now today's parallel market rates, the Naira is currently buying the dollar at 1,700 Naira, which is actually is slightly lower than what we saw last week. And the Naira is buying 1 pound sterling at 2,100 Naira, and the Naira is buying the euro at 1,850 Naira. So I believe the Central Bank of Nigeria policies are actually working, because as at last week, the parallel market rates were actually higher than these figures we actually have right now. So that was our package this morning on Market Insight. Thank you for joining us as we discussed the Monetary Policy Committee meeting that's taking place at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters this morning. And we also shared our thoughts. We also discussed with Mr. Segun Shokpito, the principal partner for Woodridge and Scott Consulting. He suggested more liberalization in the market, and there should be key fundamental foreign investments in our structures, there should be a balance also. The MPC should be able to strike a balance between promoting economic growth and also controlling inflation. That was our package this morning on Market Insights. We look forward to tomorrow when we also discuss further on the Monetary Policy Committee meeting taking place at CBN. I remain your host, Lovina Emma. Do stay tuned to continuous programming on Souk News.